Hi, everyone. My name is Anthony Caldwell, and I'm the Associate Director of the Digital Research Consortium in the YRL, and I'm joined here today by my colleague.
Hi, I'm Guey, and I'm the Emerging Technology Advocate at the Social Sciences Center for Education, Research, and Technology.
For those who don't know, the Digital Humanities Capstone is a small seminar offered by a faculty member that serves as a research laboratory focused on some aspect of the faculty member's digital research, allowing students opportunities to experience and explore other disciplines.
So, this capstone focuses on the historic theaters in downtown Los Angeles and investigates how these monuments were constructed using a variety of methods such as archival research, photogrammetry, 3D modeling, data visualizations, as well as VR and AR tools.
The projects you're about to see represent students' work from the last few years. Each theater on Broadway has a story to tell that connects it to the Broadway Theater District and more broadly to the historic core of downtown Los Angeles. The question this capstone wanted to explore was how to tell the stories and rich history each building had to offer. How could we transport someone walking down Broadway and stopping in front of the $1 Million Theater today to 1919? Today, just about everyone has a mobile device of some kind. This seemed to be an obvious and well-established mechanism to present our stories. The project started by looking for examples of mobile applications that combined AR and architecture. One example found was the Museum of London Street Museum application. Although very impressive, it was costly and had a long development time. Our solution had to be simpler, doable within a 10-week quarter, and cost next to nothing. Some of the questions that needed to be answered were how will the mobile device know where it is? GPS and cell tower triangulation were not as precise as we would need. Environmental issues also needed to be considered. Historically, downtown has always been a very busy place. Traffic, light, and noise needed to be considered. The trigger and display of information needed to be simple. After some experimentation, it was found that mobile devices in concert with QR codes could be used to precisely locate the mobile device and load content. Placed along a path, QR codes could be used to create a tour. The students decided to build a proof of concept by building a simple WordPress backend to display information about several theaters triggered by QR codes. One example of this approach is a tour created for use inside the $1 Million Theater. Above the ceiling in the main lobby is a series of murals that have been hidden away for decades. These murals and other elements in the theater depict the scenes from the Victorian fairy tale, The King of the Golden River. The tour allowed the viewer to see information about elements both visible and hidden. The tour ends with emphasizing the importance of preserving these architectural treasures for future generations. For the class final presentation, a demonstration was held in the Scholarly Innovation Lab at UCLA. Members of the theater preservation community, including the board of the Los Angeles Theater Foundation, were invited to interact with the project and the students.
Another project we like to showcase is from our reimagined marketing team. These students decided to study how the theaters used to market themselves in the past and how they would be able to modernize these strategies for the present. They realized that with so many options for home entertainment, such as streaming services and other multimedia platforms, it would make more sense to highlight the historic value of these theaters, which sets them apart from the other offerings. So they made a short 360 experience because it would be easily accessible, highly shareable on social media, and be a way to entice others to visit these theaters. Unfortunately, you may be witnessing one of the last walkthroughs of this tour, since the tool will be shut down by Google next month. However, there is a community-led effort to create an open-source replacement to the site, since it has been crucial to many VR artists and educators who use 3D models and 360 videos in their classrooms. Next, we'll have our past student come and introduce his project. Hi, Francis. Thank you so much for joining us today. Do you mind starting out by talking a little bit about the project you completed in the capstone?
All right, so this is my project, which is the photogrammetry of the theater. Of course, I started to research the history of the theater. So turns out I create kind of the 3 timeline, which is how the theater moved from the beginning, the construction, and then the history towards the modern era. And then of course, we went to the site and then I took photo and then import into the photogrammetry software, and then turns out a virtual model will be generated from those photos I took. And then once the camera recognizes the image, they will automatically project the photogrammetry model on it. That will kind of give you a real-time interaction with the model.
Were you able to use your project in your own portfolio afterwards?
For an interview later on, I did put this product into my portfolio because I think this one specifically really demonstrate like my skill side and also my intention to use the digital tool to present the cultural and or historical humanity approach.
Mm-hmm.
I would say.
Mm-hmm. So what kind of excites you about the potential of XR and using that in your field?
For architecture, which is my own major, that I think one thing, of course, is the documentation of the existing building, that you always can use AR or VR plus photogrammetry, for example, to recreate a building that far from the audience. And then, of course, the other one goes without saying, it's design aspect. So I think this, like the tools like AR or VR can definitely unlock the possibilities for them or for the designer to experience what they design in real time.
I guess the last question I have was like, what was kind of your biggest takeaway from taking the capstone?
I think the biggest takeaway, of course, is the opportunities of using AR in my case as the media for like a practical application. So I think it's really crucial that students really can get a chance to actually apply what they learn. I think this class allows you to be yourself while you are still within the academic framework to use certain knowledge and tools to achieve, to contribute to a larger ambitions.
Thank you so much for sharing your insight.
Of course, I hope
Thank
this
you.
helps. Yeah.
We hope you enjoyed this brief summary of our capstone. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Thank you.
Thank you.